Judge Bork referred to it one time as an ink blot, seemingly implying that it could just be ignored.
There are many people who would like to treat the Ninth Amendment as an ink blot, and there are many people who would like to treat the 10th Amendment as an ink blot.
The Ninth Amendment, an often forgotten and unknown amendment to most.
Do you know the Second Amendment?
Yeah, right to bear arms.
Do you know the Ninth Amendment?
No.
No, I do not know the Ninth Amendment.
Do not.
I wouldn't be able to tell you because I don't know what the Ninth Amendment is.
It's one of those amendments that hasn't had a lot of judicial attention.
While most Americans do not know the Ninth Amendment, they still understand their unenumerated rights, such as privacy.
Do you believe we as Americans have the right to privacy?
Yes.
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 Yes, of course I do. In fact, I don't think this is a we as an Americans think. I think all humans have the right to privacy. The right of privacy lets us be who we are as a whole, you know.
So powers are given to the government. Rights are something that people have that can't be taken away from them. And by enshrining them in the Bill of Rights, there we were enshrining that these rights the people have. We weren't giving those rights to the people. They had those rights, and we were saying no government, and certainly not the federal government at that time, could take them away.
But what exactly does the Ninth Amendment entail? The amendment clearly states the enumeration in the Constitution of certain rights shall not be construed to deny or disparage others retained by the people.
The Ninth Amendment was really designed to ensure the natural rights of people. And so they wanted to have it expressly written into the Constitution that even though a right may not be listed, like several of the rights in the First Amendment, that it did not mean people did not have those rights, and those rights weren't just as guaranteed under the Constitution.
Many people perceive the Ninth Amendment to be an ink blot, but this is simply untrue.
Just because we have not included in the Bill of Rights, in the first 8 amendments, certain rights, does not mean that those rights don't exist and that the federal government can infringe upon them.
But what exactly does the Ninth Amendment protect?
All of the controversial rights found in the Constitution by the Warren Court, such as the right to an abortion, the right to one person, one vote, the right to be free of state regulation concerning contraceptives. All these rights flow quite naturally from the Ninth Amendment.
If you were to look for something that you found to be such a fundamental right that the government couldn't interfere with it, where would you most likely find that right? It's going to be privacy rights. It's going to be rights that go along with things such as who you marry, your right to procreate, your right to choose your husband or wife, the right to live your life free from the government.
Although we can define privacy as an unenumerated right that exists as part of the Ninth Amendment, controversy lies in defining how far the amendment extends.
I think because the Ninth Amendment is very, very short if you actually read it. I think it's a sentence or two. And it is so basic and it is so broad that it's probably not specific enough to address a lot of concerns. Not that it's not used in court cases or in situations, but it certainly can be.
Well, the Ninth becomes very controversial because now it's open-ended. These are the open-ended rights that have not been identified. And by putting the Ninth Amendment in this catch-all, it opens the door to possible interpretation, in fact, in ways that the founders would never have envisioned.
While the Ninth Amendment is one of the most important amendments, it has found very little use in the courtroom, having only been cited a handful of times. In Griswold v. Connecticut, the court referenced the Ninth Amendment when dealing with contraceptives, recognizing privacy as an unenumerated right. Roe v. Wade applied a similar philosophy, with the district court citing the Ninth Amendment to ensure a woman's right to an abortion, which also fell under privacy. All of these were established by applying the Ninth Amendment to the states, utilizing the Due Process Clause in the 14th Amendment.
Rights that are set forth in the Bill of Rights have been incorporated through the 14th Amendment into the states. So now, that Bill of Rights that was intended to be a restriction on the federal government now is also a restriction on state governments.
So even though we don't hear about it very often, as we talked about, it's probably the least reference in any court case. I would argue that it's probably one of the most important because it reinforces the rights of people.
Through all of this is the notion that we didn't want the federal government to be interfering with the ability of state governments or the rights of the people.
Only the Ninth Amendment has enough ambiguous language to ensure that every one of our unalienable rights are protected throughout time.
The Ninth Amendment is a constant reminder of the importance to the founders of this country that we are to be a free people, free to fail and free to succeed, but regardless of how we do, we are to be free.